this is updated beginner strategies for the Tyris beginner speedrun. It's now faster to not pick up any magic, so I'm just going to go through the beginner run again, and I'll stop when there are new strategies and explain them. So if you want to know the original strategies, I will link my original video somewhere. So we're starting off exactly the same. Then when we get to the first thief, we're not going to pick up the magic, so you need to move down the screen out of the way and continue as normal. So the boss strat hasn't changed, exactly the same. Then when you get into the thief stage, you now only need to do 3 hits, so the RNG is going to be a bit easier to get, but just follow the same principles as before. Making sure that you get the thief off the right hand side of the stage. Stage 2 is going to mostly be the same until we get to the end, where we are no longer going to use magic, so exactly the same strats all the way up to there. Okay, so instead of using magic, after we have killed this Amazon woman, we're now going to move to the left-hand side of the screen. You can either move to sort of just underneath this magic pot. I prefer to go underneath this wavy pattern to down here. So you're going to need to sprint left and get into position to start doing back attacks on the Dragon Rider, the Amazon woman and the skeleton that spawn. So I move in, I do the first back attack. The second back attack, this Amazon woman is going to move down onto the dragon, so you can just stay in the same position, tap right, go into your second back attack. And then depending where the skeleton is, he might be nice to you, as he's done here, and just allow you to do a final back attack on the same spot. If he's moved around, you might need to move to the right to get into position for a down stab, so just keep an eye on where the skeleton has moved to, and then finish him with a final back attack. So that strat is, you can do that quicker than the magic animation plays out, and now we get to this stage, we also don't need to pick up any extra magic, so this would have been 5 hits if we were carrying magic, but because we're not, it's only 3. So if you get perfect RNG with the thieves stacked together there, you can finish this stage in just 3 hits now. So start of stage 3, we're going to do our normal flying kick. So this seam here is where you get control of Tyris. So when your legs are straddling over that, double tap right and go into a flying kick. This time we don't want to hold right for an extra bit to make sure we get on top of this step. It's perfectly fine to be bonking into the bottom of the step. Then we need to have a tiny bit of a delay, and then we can jump up and knock this guy on the right. So Tyris's hitbox for her sword is smaller than Gilius's, so if you're doing the same strat on Gilius, you can go quicker because the axe has a bigger hitbox, but a tiny delay is needed for Tyris just to make sure that you actually connect with this guy, because you're going to bonk into this wall and not move any further right. So just make sure that you allow for that delay so you can hit this guy. And then another delay, you want to be ideally jumping in the middle of the middle of this gap here. I've found this a little bit inconsistent, so if you find something that works better for you, by all means experiment and find your own reference point, but you're trying to bait this guy into a charge so that you can hit both the Amazon and the Henninger here into the pit, or not into the pit, just downstab them because they both die in one hit. So that avoids, say, using magic there. The normal strats continuing. Okay, so this is where there's a choice of two strategies. There is a fast and very, very difficult strategy that saves an extra 0.75 seconds, or there is a much safer strat, which I highly recommend you use. So we'll first go with the difficult strat. So you do your normal 2 back attacks on the gold enemies. Then you're going to move up, and the timing for this is incredibly tight. So you need to move up, ideally underneath this RD1 sign, and you want to get into a down stab so that you hit the boss as he spawns. You don't have much time to do this, so it might actually be a good idea to your normal reference point for where you were going to do the back attacks on the gold guys. Just move up a little bit more just to give you that extra chance of getting up to the top of the screen in time. So you go into your down stab. You want to be landing the down stab in the middle of the door, but then move a little bit right as you're sort of going towards the ground. Then you need to do a second down stab, and you want this skeleton to do a down stab as well, as he's just done here. So this is, as far as I can figure out, completely luck dependent. I know it's not technically 100% luck, it is dependent on your exact positioning, but it's so precise that it's effectively luck. The skeleton can either do a shoulder barge, at which point runs over, otherwise he can do a down stab and you've got a chance. He can do a down stab and land in various spaces from left to right, and you want him to be moving as far right as possible. You want to start a down stab on the right hand side of this door. You want to move up, and you want to go into a down stab and turn around sort of as this background transitions from brown to reddy brown, and then you're going to swing back around and hit the boss and the skeleton in one down stab. So this incredibly tight positioning, that's very, very difficult, but if you manage to do that, then the rest is a lot easier. Another down stab to knock the boss to the right, then you want to be baiting this skeleton on the left into an attack so that he doesn't dodge the next down stab. So move to the left only just far enough so that the skeleton tries to attack you. Then you want to be going to the right to set up your down stab, and then hit both the skeleton and the boss for the last down stab to close out the run. If you don't want to do that, and I suggest you don't, you can go for an easier strat. So if I go back in time a little bit, when you go for your back attacks, you do the first back attack as normal, and then you just lead the second golden knight up to the top of the screen. So if you move up into the middle of the door and wait for this guy to come up to you, then do a back attack so that it lands just as he gets up to you, then you've got plenty of time to get into a down stab with your sword going down the middle of the door so that you hit the boss just as he spawns in. And if you've done everything correctly, the skeleton on the left should now run into the screen, making it 1,000 times easier to get a down stab on both the boss and the skeleton. He'll just keep running into the right of the screen, so positioning is much more predictable, and then finish out the run as last time. Another back attack to knock the boss to the left, bait an attack out from the skeleton and land the last down stab to finish out the run. So that's the new strategies for Tyris. I think in total you can save 9 seconds if you use all the harder strats. Otherwise it's about 8 seconds if you use the easier strat at the end there, so that should be a nice big time save compared to the previous strats. So good luck to everyone who wants to try them, and if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out and I'll do my best to keep this information up to date.